There's a saying in boxing, all the greats move up. From Sugar Ray Robinson to Roberto Duran. The legends have always dared to climb, taking on heavier men, greater risk, and bigger moments. Sugar Ray Leonard was no different, a natural welterweight. He had already conquered multiple weight divisions, including welterweight and light middleweight. But his defining victory came in 1987, when he returned from retirement to face the seemingly invincible middleweight conqueror, Marvin Hagler. In his very first fight at 160 pounds, Leonard shocked the world, outboxing the feared champion in one of the sport's most unforgettable upsets. For most fighters, that victory would have been enough to cement his legacy, but Leonard's fire still burned. He wasn't content with what he had achieved, he wanted more. His next target, Donny LaLonde, the WBC light heavyweight world champion. In a calculated move, Leonard's team negotiated terms that made history possible. The fight would be contested not only for LaLonde's light heavyweight title, but also for the newly created WBC Super Middleweight Championship. 2 belts, 2 divisions, 1 night. The catch? LaLonde, a natural light heavyweight, would be forced to come down 7 pounds to 168 pounds. Critics argue that put him at a disadvantage, but the opportunity was too great to refuse. For LaLonde, it was the chance of a lifetime. The elements were irresistible. A natural welterweight daring to climb once more, facing a bigger, younger power puncher with everything to prove. Either Sugar Ray Leonard cement his place among the immortals, or Donny LaLonde's power would spoil the coronation. Sugar Ray Leonard's boxing style was speed-based, versatile boxer puncher with showman flair. He combined lightning-fast hand speed, fluid footwork, and sharp reflexes with the ability to switch between outboxing opponents from range and engaging in aggressive flurries at close and mid-range. Leonard's hallmark was his ability to control rhythm, using feints, quick jabs, and sudden bursts of multi-punch combinations while maintaining defensive sharpness through evasiveness and lateral mobility. Unlike peer pressure fighters or counterpunchers, Leonard thrived on adaptability, adjusting his approach depending on the opponent. Whether outmaneuvering defensive technicians or trading explosively with brawlers, his charisma, confidence, and psychological gamesmanship amplified his effectiveness, making him not just a tactician, but also a performer who could shift momentum with a single dazzling sequence. Donny LaLonde, by contrast, was a fighter defined by size, strength, and raw power. A natural light heavyweight, he towered over Leonard with the longer reach and the kind of right hand that could end a fight in an instant. His approach was more straightforward, built around a stiff jab to control distance and set up his knockout punch. LaLonde wasn't as fluid or elusive as Leonard, but he didn't need to be. He applied steady pressure, forcing opponents to deal with his physicality and the constant threat of his power. Where Leonard thrived on finesse and adaptability, LaLonde relied on directness and force, seeking to break down his opponents with aggression and capitalize on any mistake. It was a clash of styles as old as boxing itself, the master craftsman against the dangerous puncher. Leonard, the smaller man, carried the edge in speed, skill, and experience. LaLonde, the bigger man, carried the edge in size, reach, and knockout power. The question was simple, yet dramatic. Could Leonard's brilliance overcome LaLonde's strength? Or would the Canadian's power derail the legend's pursuit of greatness? Boxing at its core could be distilled into 3 elements: punching, moving, and defending. Beneath that simplicity lie deeper factors, such as conditioning, athleticism, durability, heart, and power. Yet, what often separates the greats from the rest, something only a discerning eye can catch, is the mastery of strategy and pacing. In the fight against LaLonde, Leonard faced a man with a clear edge and size and power. But Leonard possessed something far more decisive: experience. Experience teaches a fighter not only what he's capable of, but how to remain composed under fire. Leonard understood this was the biggest stage of LaLonde's career, and he used that knowledge to his advantage. He allowed the bigger man to take the lead, setting a trap like a honeypot to lure the younger brawler into overexertion.
That was a good exchange there.
Now they begin to mix it up inside for the first time.
Derby and the Ferrari is trying to make it a foot race.
The voice in Ray Leonard's corner was that of Jank.
The strategy hinged on 3 critical points. First, allow the puncher to believe he carries the greater will and physical dominance. Second, let him throw more punches than he should under the pressure of the bright lights. And finally, endure the storm patiently, knowing it would eventually pass. This calculated approach turned LaLonde's strengths into weaknesses and showcased Leonard's brilliance in using experience as a weapon.
He's starting to stalk him, like he stalked Hearns that first fight. People seem to forget that. I don't know. Go blow.
When tempting a puncher, you must first lure him in with the illusion of an opening. Leonard often kept his lead hand low, inviting the attack.
The uppercuts in there.
Interestingly, as he moves away, Leonard is circling.
Though he appeared within striking distance, he stayed light on his feet, circling just outside range.
Nothing yet. And one more thing about LaLonde being the tip
half of the victims of child abuse.
That alone could be the...
This forced LaLonde to step in with his punches, an effort that cost far more energy than it seemed, especially when he missed and had to recover. It was like stirring a beehive. Disrupt the rhythm, irritate them, and keep them off balance. But remember, when you provoke the swarm, you better be ready for the sting.
Company. Opinion is widely divided. Leonard beginning to step inside.
Well, visual effect. Fire the left hook to the body.
Let's take a look and see how we catch that quick right hand and hits a smaller man any place in a vulnerable spot.
LaLonde shocked the boxing world when he dropped Leonard with the crushing overhand right. It was the first major momentum swing, a reminder that size and power really matters, even against greatness. But for Leonard, the knockdown became a turning point of his own. Sugar Ray shifted gears, letting his experience take over. LaLonde had invested a tremendous amount of energy in those opening 4 rounds to land a punch. And Leonard knew the young bull would charge in looking for the kill. Instead of retreating, Leonard did what few would have done after a knockdown. He stood his ground, but with calculated distance.
He's giving himself a little mountain to climb. On my card anyway, he's already down.
If Leonard wound up being the one who was in the position of needing a knockout in the late round.
He recognized that LaLonde's jab was not the true danger. The right hand was. The key was to disrupt LaLonde before he could fully commit to it. If the right hand was launched, Leonard would pull back just enough to blunt its impact, then immediately strike. The difference now was in timing, allowing LaLonde to overextend on his power shots, then punishing him during a vulnerable moment of recovery.
A little edge, that's all.
By now it is that he wants no part of that chopping overhand right.
LaLonde's jab served as little more than a rangefinder. If it fell short, he refused to commit. Leonard recognized his pattern immediately. With subtle shifts of movement, he baited the jab. In the moment it came up short, he darted in with explosive speed to exploit the opening.
Exactly.
I don't know about that.
It was the flaw LaLonde had no answer for. His offense relied entirely on those looping right hands. And when he couldn't create the space or timing to land them, he was left vulnerable. Instead of dictating the exchanges, LaLonde became the target, absorbing Leonard's sharp combinations.
For LaLonde, a couple of jabs, really no damage.
All right,
6 brawl here now.
LaLonde, who began to fight aggressively, soon found himself overwhelmed by Leonard's relentless points of attack. The veteran began pressing the younger lion backward, unleashing flurries of punches that left LaLonde visibly drained. All the energy he poured into the early rounds now came at a heavy cost. He was gasping for air while Leonard calmly picked his moments to strike. Fatigue became the decisive factor in LaLonde's unraveling. Leonard, still fresh and composed, dictated the pace, choosing when and where to attack, fully aware that LaLonde no longer had the firepower to answer back.
Round 8 points. Otherwise, Red Lava falls on in. Miss it.
Question now, how big a scorecard mountain does Leonard have to climb?
Though LaLonde fought on with heart, what remained were little more than arm punches, ineffective against Leonard's precision. By then, it was simply target practice for Leonard's sharpshooting.
Leonard landing counter inside with the right. LaLonde needs something to get himself going.
In the end, Leonard, deprived that size and power can shape a fight, but they do not define it. What matters most is intelligence, experience, and discipline to pace yourself. By allowing a young lion in the early moments of confidence, Leonard planted the seeds of his downfall. LaLonde spent the strength chasing a finish that never came, and when there was nothing left in the tank, he was forced to endure the precision of a master who still had plenty to give. It was not the brute force that decided the night. It was wisdom, patience, and timing.